Them birds gonna fly, you already know.
Hello, World Bald Eagle, coming at you with a quick update. So, about this new offensive coordinator hire that the Eagles just did. I'm not anti-Nick Sirianni, but it just exposes him. It's something that exposes him a lot, because in 23, when everybody was calling for his job, it was based on offensive production. And he wasn't able to do anything then. And I wasn't calling for his job back then because, things happen. They're just coming off a Super Bowl appearance. But as a guy that's a CEO, head coach, and supposed to be on the offensive side of the ball, he never really does anything to fix the offense when they're struggling. When he first tried to call plays when he first came to the team, it was a disaster, and they had to switch that around real quick. And they put Steichen in there, and they went to the Super Bowl. He gets a head coaching job, and they bring Brian Johnson from within, and he gets fired after the poor season in 23. Nick Sirianni said that those were his plays that Brian Johnson was calling, and now we see. Okay, moving on from that. You bring in Kellen Moore, somebody from outside. The team gets successful, goes to the Super Bowl and win convincingly. He gets a head coaching job. Nick Sirianni pleads with him to stay with the team to run it back. He said, nah, I'm leaving. Now you promote from within again. In comes Kevin Patullo. Probably the worst of everybody. Other than the red zone offense, Patullo is probably the worst out of everybody. He gets fired, supposedly. He's supposed to still be around the building somewhere, but he's fired from the offensive coordinator position. The team is in desperate need of an offensive coordinator, but we have a head coach that's had 5 seasons to get better at play calling, because everybody that comes in from outside, they bring in their own playbook. And when they promote from within, they're using Nick Sirianni's playbook. So you mean to tell me you haven't got better at calling your own plays in 5 years? Your own plays, you've not gotten better at stringing plays together and being successful at being a play caller of your own plays. But we're always supposed to get some guy to come in there and call your plays and be good at it during the season, all in 1 year. Doesn't make any sense. They hired this guy that's 33 because they can control him. It's all about control. After the Chip Kelly era, they're not letting the head coach have full reign of anything. Nick Sirianni does not control anything. He's going to put out a statement about firings and hirings, but he's not in charge of what's happening. So I respect the guy for the success he's had, but it's also happened because of the talent he's had around him. And we have to be real about that. That's just the truth. With all the talent that the Eagles have, they should always be in the top 10 of offenses every year. It's not about Super Bowls. I know you're not going to win a championship every year, but you can't have seasons go by, the whole season is going by, and you have games where you have 27 yards offensive production in the whole second half, and it's going to happen later that season and 2 games apart and stuff like that. That's just coaching. That's poor coaching. And the game against the 49ers, that just showed everything I needed to see right there. That's really what changed my mind about Sirianni, because you have this guy coming in with people off the street, and then you have another guy with all his starters that are well rested and basically had a bye week. And we seen the big difference, and it was all about coaching. He was out-coached, and you can never say that he out-coached anybody, because Sirianni is only as good as his offensive coordinator or his defensive coordinator. So that's just the facts. I don't hate the guy, but I'm just being real about what I see. All the slander that Jalen Hurts gets, to me, it all goes back to Nick Sirianni. You're supposed to be an offensive guy. You have a quarterback that was drafted by the team, and everybody just always rains on his development and says what he can't do, even though most of the time they're always exaggerating or lying. or just being biased because they don't like the Eagles or they don't like Jalen Hurts or whatever reason that they have. But at the end of the day, for an offensive head coach to not be constantly developing his guy and always relying on somebody else, and then you have his guy looking different every season just based on the different coordinators that he's playing with, and he's not being constantly developed by one coordinator just for even 3 years, you know, that falls on the head coach. And that's just my opinion on that. I hope things work out with this Sean Mannion guy. And like I said before, if it works out with him, he's a young guy. He's going to win a head coaching position. Everybody wants the new Sean McVay. You want a head coach that's a hotshot offensive coordinator while he's young, because then you can just have him for a long time. You can draft a quarterback and develop under him. Last year, everybody was calling Caleb Williams a bust. This year, everybody's seeing the difference having a play caller as a head coach makes, especially one that's a good one. So that's just my opinion on that. I don't hate Nick Sirianni. I'm just keeping it real about Nick Sirianni because it's just the truth. You know, at the end of the day, we have to call it what it is. And I'm calling it like I see it. Go Birds.
Them birds gonna fly, you already know. Rain, sleet, or snow, Eagles train to go.